Hello, listening readers. Thank you for joining us here today today we're diving into chapter 3 of The Hidden Hunters. Chapter 3, Samantha Tyler. Sam's long hair was still damp and dripping as she bolted down the stairs, but she didn't have time to care. She was late. She had slept in, and on a day when she really hadn't wanted to sleep in. She raced into the kitchen and looked around. Food. Even if she was in a hurry, she still needed some kind of food to start the day. But it would have to be something really quick and really simple. She didn't have time for anything else. First, she looked at the cereal, but then she decided against that. Even pouring a quick bowl would take too much time. She looked around and saw that there was a banana and an apple sitting on the counter. She grabbed them quickly and jammed the apple into her mouth. Her mother walked into the kitchen from the living room and looked at her daughter in exasperation. "Jesus, slow down, will you?" she exclaimed. Sam mumbled something for a moment, but her mother shook her head. She couldn't understand what Sam was saying. Sam took a few precious seconds to chew and before she swallowed, looked at her mother. "Sorry, no time, gotta go," she shouted through bits of mushed apple, sidestepping around her mother and racing for the door. "You're gonna choke," her mother yelled after her. "No, I won't," Sam exclaimed as she opened the door and bolted outside. She didn't give her mother a chance to retort back at her, or at least she thought she hadn't, until her mother came to the door and opened it to call after her. "I don't care how late you're running, you do not eat while you're moving. You aren't some kind of old school cliche anime girl. Walk, chew, and swallow," she called after her daughter. Across the street, some other kids from school who were clearly less worried about being late chuckled and snickered to themselves. Sam felt her face flush red. "Yep, okay, got it, Mom," she replied with embarrassment. "I'll move slowly," she said, holding up her arms in mock surrender. Her mom cocked an eyebrow in a way that said she clearly didn't believe her daughter's promises. But she still came to the merciful conclusion that it was time to let the matter rest, and turned around and went back into the house, locking the door behind her. Sam sighed to herself and started trudging along the street. She shivered a little bit. It was warm for mid-November in suburban New York, but it was still cold. Colder than she thought it would be, actually. It was cold enough that she really wished her hair was drier than it was. She hadn't had time to properly blow dry before she had run out the door. She quickly polished off the apple and the banana, taking a spare moment to toss the refuse in a trash can by the park that she walked past on her way to school. Standing by the front door of one of the houses near the park was someone she'd been looking for. She raised her hand and waved. "Hey, Joe, over here," she called out. There was no response. Sam fought the urge to roll her eyes. No doubt her friend was lost deep in her thoughts, like always. Well, there were ways to cut through that. Increased volume, she'd often found, was a good solution. "Hey, Joe! Over! Here!" she yelled at the top of her lungs. Once again, several people on the street turned to look at her, but this time she didn't mind. It wasn't nearly so embarrassing when you weren't the target of the yelling. The instant blush that lit up Joe's face indicated to Sam that she probably would have agreed with that statement if it had been posed to her. Joe waved sheepishly to Sam to indicate she noticed her now. Sam nodded in satisfaction at a job well done, which now made Joe roll her eyes. "So I suppose walking up my steps and tapping me on the shoulder was out of the question?" Joe asked drolly. Sam's face lit up with a smile. "Nope," she said simply. "I mean, let's face it. Even if I had walked up straight in your line of sight, you wouldn't have even noticed I was there until I was right on top of you. You were so lost in your own thoughts. Don't even try to deny it. I saw your eyes. You only look like that when you're really not here. If I had tapped you, you might have had a heart attack right on the spot," Sam said matter-of-factly. "So obviously, standing in your driveway and screaming your name at the top of my lungs was the much more humane option. You are welcome." Joe let out a strangled snorting sound as Sam finished speaking. "Oh man," Joe said finally. "You know, the worst part is I can't even think of a valid counter-argument to what you just said." She merely shook her head in resignation and kept on walking with Sam. Sam savored her rare feeling of triumph and mercifully decided she wouldn't tease her friend anymore on the way to school. Her friend's actual name was Joanna Markowitz, but she hadn't gone by her full name in years. She always insisted that she preferred the quick and short name Joe. Sam never understood why. She'd always liked the name Joanna, but she had never argued with her friend's preferences. Joe looked very prim and proper, or as much as she ever did anyway. She clearly hadn't been in any kind of rush getting out the door. She never did. It didn't show on her face, but that made Sam feel even more irked at herself. Joe looked at her friend with a puzzled expression on her face. "Nice to see you, but I thought you were going to school early today," she said. Sam sighed. "Yeah, I was planning on it, but that didn't work out. I overslept." Joe raised her eyebrows. "You overslept? Since when does that happen?" Sam shook her head in disgust. "Tell me about it. I don't even want to talk about it," she said. They walked along for a little bit before Joe turned to look at her and said, "Really though, what happened?" Sam fidgeted uncomfortably for a moment. It's stupid, Sam said. She wanted to stop talking, but when she glanced over at her friend, Joe was looking at her with a wide, inquisitive eyes, like she really was curious and wanted to know. Sam gritted her teeth. She'd never been good at resisting that look. If you must know, I didn't sleep well because I think I was having some kind of a nightmare, she said, feeling guilty just talking about it. Or at least feeling stupid just talking about it. What kind of nightmare? Joe asked. Sam couldn't help but smile inside. Joe kind of thought of herself as an intellectual jack of all trades. She tried to become an expert on as many subjects as possible. Recently, she started dabbling in the study of psychology. Clearly, she wanted to do an armchair therapy interview, asking about Sam's dreams and seeing if she could make heads or tails of what they meant about her mental state. Personally, Sam was pretty skeptical about whether that really meant anything or not, but there was still time to kill on the way to school, so why not indulge her friend? She tried to think back on the morning and see if she could recall any specifics. It was hard, though. She didn't usually remember her dreams at all. This had felt slightly more vivid than most, but not too much. They were more impressions than anything else, really. She haltingly explained that to Joe as they walked. She had felt as if she was afraid of something or someone. It was like, in her dream, she had found herself in some kind of situation where she had expected it to go one way, and had been left frightened when things had gone in a very different, very dangerous direction instead. Joe looked straight ahead as Sam talked. Her eyes seemed to be calculating, thinking about what she was hearing. Okay, Joe said, that sounds fairly vague. Was there anything more specific that you can remember? Sam hesitated. There had been one specific thing, but she didn't want to mention it. Joe glanced over at her. Her friend knew her too well. She clearly realized that Sam was holding something back. For a moment, they both stopped on the sidewalk, both staring at each other, engaging in a silent contest of wills to see who could get the other to give in first. Sam did her best to hold on. She lasted a whole 30 seconds before the look on Joe's face broke her. She grunted to herself and started walking forward again. You know that damn look of yours should be illegal, she said snidely to Joe. Joe just grinned and started walking in triumph. All right, so what were the specifics that you didn't want to tell me? Joe asked simply. Sam pettily tried to be silent for another couple of seconds before she fully caved. I think Henry was there, in some capacity. I think that I was afraid of him, she said. The smile dropped from Joe's face. Looking around at her friend, Sam could see that Joe was fighting the urge to roll her eyes or sigh in dismay and despair. They had already been through a couple of conversations like this before already. In fact, Sam had been through several versions of this conversation with all of her friends. They didn't understand why she didn't seem to want to hang out with Henry anymore. To be fair, she didn't really understand it either. All she knew for sure was that over the past couple of months, she had wanted to hang out with him less and less. She'd started to feel weird around him, and not a good kind of weird that she had used to feel back in the day. She felt worried whenever she was around him. It didn't make sense. She knew objectively that Henry hadn't done anything. He acted no differently than he ever used to before. But for some reason, whereas before she had always seen him as one of her best friends, someone she had always wanted to be around, now something in her didn't trust him. And she didn't understand it. And her friends didn't understand it. They were all still friends with Henry, and they were all still friends with her. They kept on trying to mend the divide that had grown between them, especially her brother, who was also Henry's best friend. But it didn't seem to be working. Despite her objectively knowing that there was nothing evidently wrong, her mind wouldn't let her mend the gap. Her mind wasn't letting her get close again. She wished she could get over this, but it seemed like she just couldn't. From the look on Joe's face, she wished that Sam could get over it too. But despite her armchair psychoanalysis, she couldn't figure out a reason why Sam was acting this way either. Despite her best intentions, it was clearly out of her depth. Perhaps recognizing that fact, she really didn't offer an answer to Sam. Instead, she merely smiled a little bit and put her hand on Sam's shoulder as they walked. Well, I don't really know what those dreams mean, I'm afraid, she said. You got a counselor's appointment today at the school, right? Sam nodded glumly. She did. She didn't like those meetings, but she did have them. Maybe you should bring them up there. Maybe they can help you with that. From the look on her face, Joe didn't really seem to believe that the counselor would be able to help with whatever was going on with Sam, which was fair. Sam didn't think that talking to the counselor about this would help either. Mr. Young clearly meant well, but she didn't think he was the best at handling these kinds of issues. Joe opened her mouth for a second as if she was going to say something else, only to close it a second later. She couldn't find the words to say what she was thinking. Sam figured that was probably for the best anyway. This was the one topic in her life that she just couldn't seem to talk to anyone about. Not really. Not in a way that made sense to anyone. Because the more she thought about Henry and why she didn't want to be around him, there was one theory that had started popping into her head recently. It was a ludicrous, preposterous theory. a theory that, if she ever said it out loud, would be grounds to immediately label her as actually clinically insane. She knew that, and so she tried to dismiss it every time she thought of it. But still, the intrusive thought returned, determined not to die. She shivered, suddenly a chill in the core of her being that had nothing to do with the November weather. She had to turn the topic to save her conversation, striking up a new talk by asking about how Joe's math assignments from the last night had been. After they'd been walking for another 15 minutes, Sam could almost forget how uneasy she was feeling about life right now. Almost. All right. With that, we have met all the POV characters from the book. Theris, Henry, Dovrin, and Sam. The entire rest of the story will be told from the perspective of these 4 characters. This is Sam, by the way. As always, I just wanted to say thank you for coming along on this journey with me. Please like and subscribe and comment if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you tomorrow with the next chapter to the story. Thank you.